This episode of The Sportsman's Empire is brought to you by Interstate Batteries. Since 1952, Interstate Batteries has been evoking compassion and a trustworthy spirit into the surrounding communities. Interstate Batteries is a mission-driven company fueled by purpose and guided by their values. If you need help locating a specific battery, stop into your local Interstate Batteries retail store and speak with a battery specialist. They even offer cell phone repairs. Interstate Batteries. Outrageously dependable.
Welcome to the Migration Podcast, your guide for waterfowl hunting tactics, gear, and conservation. And now, your host, Brian Hallbly.
What is up, everyone? As Johnny M. said, I'm your host, Brian Hallbly. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to tune in to the Migration Waterfowl Podcast, presented by Bluebird Waterfowl. Check out their new spinning wing decoy prototype wings. They're offering a 6-wing prototype set to anyone interested in testing them out. You can get a hold of them at 800-564-0914 and be one of the first people to get your hands on them. Another innovative product. They're trying out 3 different sets, 3 different sizes of wings for your spinning wing decoys. I think you'll really like what they got going on over there. I got to check them out at the Great American Outdoor Show. Looking forward to putting them to the test myself. So if you want to get in on that, give them a call. They'll get you set up. And keep me posted. Send me a message. Let me know what you think about them. I think you'll really enjoy them. This episode is also brought to you by these other fine partners, Rig 'em Right, the Duck Hole and Company, and CK Custom Calls. I'll tell you more about all these partners later in the show. I have another great show coming up for you today. The guys from Great Lakes Outdoors will be joining me on the show, and we'll be getting into all kinds of good waterfowl topics from their home turf in Michigan and beyond. We also get into their experiences with field and water setups, learn more about their brand, Great Lakes Outdoors, and much more. Well, it's a late Tuesday evening while I'm recording this. Just got back in Pennsylvania from my week in Florida. I don't know if you had a chance to follow any of my storyline on my Instagram story. I think it also posted to the Facebook story as well. Just a really much needed break from the hustle and bustle of everyday life, and get out of the winter here and get some sunshine and be outside and get some fresh air, and did a little bit of fishing. Really nice to have the opportunity and the means to do that. Very thankful that God has blessed my wife and I with the means to be able to do that on occasion. Her mom and dad spent about 7 or 8 months in Florida out of the year, and it was nice to catch up with them. It's been a while since we saw them. They head down, I think, about October. So it's been a few months since I've seen them anyway. Karen ended up going down and seeing them in December, I believe. But yeah, just really nice time. Nice to get away. Ended up going on a fishing trip for peacock bass. I took my father-in-law, Fred. We went with Fred Gowdy Charters. Found him online through some research. Had some really good reviews. Reasonably priced for a 4-hour trip. Something I've always wanted to do. I've never caught a peacock bass. Pretty neat looking fish. Always wanted to go and take advantage of that. So we were originally supposed to go out on Monday, but the captain called on Saturday and said the weather was looking pretty rough for Monday. There were some thunderstorms coming through. Basically, that was the only day that was kind of cloudy and rainy. It was high 70s, low 80s every day, sunny. And really, Monday, it was probably a good call because the peacock bass usually bite from like 10 to 2, so that was the time frame we were going out, and that's when most of the rain events were moving through the area. So good on Captain Fred for giving us a heads up and not just, treating us as a number. He wanted to make sure we had a good experience and was flexible with his schedule. So we ended up going on Sunday, and pretty interesting. They're freshwater fish. We ended up meeting him in this one area of Florida that has, a lot of areas of Florida have a lot of canals through them, but this particular area was kind of the canals ran through the, I don't know how to put this nicely. I don't want to sound like I'm judging anybody because I've been there myself. There's been times in my life when I've been broke and had to do what I had to do, and didn't have the greatest apartment to live in and things like that. But let's just say it was a little older, more rundown part of the area of Florida that I don't spend a whole lot of time in. But the saddest part is, and like I said, I'm not judging anybody. You don't know anybody's situation or character, but these canals that ran behind these older kind of rundown areas, they're beautiful. I mean, there's beautiful flowers and trees everywhere in Florida. And, I get that you have to do the best you can, and you might not have any extra money to keep your place up and make it look like, I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say. It's hard to keep up on the maintenance, but I just don't understand the littering in just stuff piling up everywhere. And again, like I said, to each their own. That doesn't bother some people, but there's no need. I don't care who you are. There's no need to throw garbage and mattresses and beer cans and big screen TVs into a waterway that runs through your neighborhood. I just can't find any reason to do something like that. I can't make sense of that in my mind, because even in the times of my life when I was broke or poor or whatever adjective you want to use, even growing up when my dad was working at the steel mills in Pittsburgh, when those all closed down, things got tight. But we always had pride and respect in the stuff that we did have, and we tried to keep our homes, however meager, keep our home nice, keep our clothes clean, and pick up after ourselves and not litter. And I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to come on here sounding all preachy like I'm judging people, because everybody has different circumstances. But it was just sad to see the condition of this waterway that came through this neighborhood. Good news, bad news. I guess it's a rougher part of town. A lot of people don't fish through there. And our guide found this little access ramp. It was actually like a sand and gravel boat ramp. If you drove past it, I didn't even see it. And you drove past it, you wouldn't even notice it was there. But pretty slick access to get into this canal system. And boy, were the peacock bass there. Now, this is just the very front end of the season for fishing for them. Obviously, they're Central and South American fish, used to hot temperatures, warmer water temperatures. So that's why he was kind of wanting a warm, sunny day and fishing later in the day to where the air temperature and the water temperature would be at its greatest. And that was evident in the first half of the trip. It was pretty slow. But once that sun got overhead and the water started warming up and the air temperature started warming up, we started catching some. It was pretty interesting. We were throwing topwater plugs to start. A lot of them are starting to nest, and you could see, floating along, the water's pretty clear. For as much garbage was around, surprisingly, the water is pretty clear, and you could see the bass nests in there. So we were kind of throwing topwaters, trying to get them to get aggressive to come off of those beds, but it was pretty slow. So I did have one really nice hit come up out of the water, smacked that topwater pretty good, but didn't end up hooking it. But we kept at it, and like I said, as the day went on, we had some lead jig heads tipped with some shiners. We started picking up a few off of that, and once that sun was overhead, you could really start to sight fish for those peacock bass because they have really bright orange. I can't remember what the name of those fins are that are underneath their gills there. But anyway, they look like dark blobs, but you could see that orange flicker. And, anything that was in the water, like a light spot of sand where they kind of nested, you could pick them out pretty easy in there. So that was pretty neat. We ended up, I think we caught 2 or 3 apiece to the boat, landed officially. Had a couple of quick releases, a bunch of strikes, but it was just really cool. It was really interesting to see one of those fish up close. I've seen a lot of pictures of them, and just had a great time. Captain Fred Gowdy worked his butt off. He was kind of apologetic for the first half of the trip being kind of slow, but you know what? That's fishing. And he explained all that to us leading up to it. There was no surprises. He said this is the front end of it. I could take you out for some inshore shallow water fishing, some backwater bay fishing that might be a little bit better. He says, I'll probably be able to get you on some peacock bass, but I don't want you to think you're going to come out here and rip lips all day because it's just not that time of year for it. So he was very upfront with everything, and the trip that he had the day before, I was following him on Facebook or Instagram. I can't remember which one. He posted some pictures and said the same exact thing that happened to us. He was like, it was a little slow first part of the trip, but once the sun got up, so and he also called, about the weather and kind of filled us in on that too. So that's all you can ask for in a fishing guide is just honesty and working hard, because at the end of the day, whether you're hiring somebody to take you fishing, take you waterfowl hunting, big game hunting, as long as they work their tail off and they're honest and give you a couple opportunities, that's all you can ask for. But no, we caught, quite a few each, landed quite a few each, and made our day. So I hope you got to see those pictures. I'll see if I can get them posted on the social media pages. I think those stories will disappear. So if you didn't see them, I'll try to get them posted somewhere else. But great trip. Got to spend 6 uninterrupted days with my wife, which is very rare with both of us working full time. Really nice to reset and have that chance to reconnect, as a couple, and that's super important. I wish I was telling her that at the airport on the way home tonight. I just wish, our day to day wasn't so hectic, that we had more time to spend like that with each other. And, that day will come. Not that I'm wishing my life away. Retirement's not that far away for either one of us, but, just something to think about. Take that time to reset and reconnect with your loved one. And it goes a long way to get you through till the next time you can put aside that much time. So no time to rest, though. I'm going to go back to work for a couple of days, and then I'm headed out to the Toronto Sportsman Show this weekend. March 14th through the 16th. I'll be hanging out at the Punisher Waterfowl booth with my friend Damian Pittman, Craig Lalonde, and the rest of the crew. Be sure to stop and see us if you're in the Toronto area. Punisher Waterfowl will be hosting The Refuge. It's a dedicated waterfowl area at the show, full of duck and goose hunting product manufacturers, guides, and outfitters. It's your chance to get your eyes and hands on the latest waterfowl gear and products. Hopefully we'll be recording some podcasts there and doing some live updates throughout the weekend as well. On this episode, I'm going to be talking with Kyle Howard and Chris Niemi from Great Lakes Outdoors. We discussed their personal journeys into waterfowl hunting, the impact of social media on the sport, and the importance of scouting and preparation. We also talk about everything from typical hunting seasons, strategies for field and water setups, and the camaraderie among waterfowl hunters. We discuss the passion and dedication of Michigan hunters and the unique challenges they face in the field. They also share insights on innovative hunting techniques, access to water spots, field spots, duck species and migration patterns, hunting seasons and regulations, memorable hunting stories, future plans, and growth for their brand. They also talk about the importance of learning from each experience and the friendships built through waterfowl hunting. Thank you to the good Lord for blessing us with another opportunity to get together for another episode. So let's get into episode number 46. Welcome back to another episode of the Migration Waterfowl podcast presented by Bluebird Waterfowl. I appreciate you all coming back today to join us for another episode. I've got a couple of special guests here today, Kyle and Chris from Great Lakes Outdoors. How's it going today, gentlemen?
She's going.
It's going pretty good.
Tuesday, so it's better than Monday.
Yep.
The day we're recording anyway, so it's going pretty good though. Out of season, kind of getting some rest, been shed hunting a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's been pretty solid so far.
Yeah, ready for turkey season.
Yeah.
Good deal. Did you get some of this warm weather that I'm having today?
We got rain, I think, most of the day.
Yeah.
So yeah, it has warmed up.
Warming up, yeah.
I was shed hunting yesterday, and it was pretty cold still. But today it definitely warmed up quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what part of Michigan are you guys in?
So we're right out of southeast Michigan. Me and Trav and I are the ones that started Great Lakes Outdoors. Trav was from Fountain, Michigan, like the southwest tip up there near Traverse City, I think it is. Okay. And then he's living out in Kalamazoo now, so we don't get to see each other as much. And then for the crew, we just added Chris this year. I mean, about halfway through the year, I'd say, I mean, pretty much all year for Chris. But we're both from the southeast side of Michigan.
Yep. About 20 minutes away from Detroit.
Okay.
Yeah, south of Detroit there.
Yes.
Right on the Detroit River. Our studio here is right on the Detroit River, actually.
Gotcha.
We get to do a little
So if
bit
you
of
guys
walleye
wouldn't
fishing
mind,
and
take
everything.
turns, take a minute and introduce yourselves. I don't know who wants to go first, but just let everybody know who you are, kind of how you got into the outdoors.
Yeah, we'll do. I'm Chris Niemi. Started with Great Lakes Outdoors about a year ago. I do stuff with Point Malay Waterfowl. I'm on the board. I'm a board member there now, and started waterfowl hunting about 10 years ago. Really started getting serious about it 5 years ago, though. And it's been an addiction since. So, yeah.
And I'm Kyle Howard, one of the owners of Great Lakes Outdoors. I've been hunting ever since I can remember deer hunting. I started off with, and then about 10 years ago, as well as Chris, I started getting into the waterfowl hunting and completely stopped deer hunting for the longest time because this waterfowl hunting just took it completely over for me. I could care less about deer for the longest time. So I started chasing deer again probably 2 years ago, but I've been really just after turkeys and waterfowl, and some walleye in the springtime. But I don't know. I just can't get enough of the turkeys. Honestly, I'm so pumped up for turkey season this spring. It's probably, I don't know. It's one of my favorite time of year. Honestly,
Something about it.
It's hard to pass up waterfowl, obviously, but I honestly would think maybe turkeys for me.
Okay. So kind of walk us through what it's like growing up and hunting in Michigan. You guys been waterfowl hunting the whole time, or is that something that you picked up later?
So, I mean, for me, I grew up deer hunting up north,
Yep.
up in the Thumb area, and it was kind of like just like the same thing over and over again for me, where you'd see the bigger deer before season, and since Michigan doesn't have a point
System.
yeah, I get like you could shoot anything you want, which is fine, obviously for people that are out there for that, just for the sport itself.
Yeah.
It just kind of got old. I was seeing the same doe and two fawns every year, and doing all the work in the off season, and then once waterfowl season got introduced in my life, it just engulfed me. Like it's all I thought about for the longest time. Scouting and how can I get better? How can I grow at this whole thing? And when I got into college is when I met Trav, and me and him started up the page and kind of started up the page just to kind of have a different spot to post just hunting pictures and not have to worry about posting our girlfriends, and so they wouldn't get mad at us. And that kind of just ran from there, and we started up our own podcast, and it's just been pretty crazy, honestly, where we've gotten and the people that we've been able to meet along the way.
Yeah. Some really good connections for sure.
Yeah. I mean, like even the walleye fishing around here, I always kind of like not a crowd, but like to meet new people. So interacting and stuff like that, especially like at the shows and the dinners that we help out with. So, I mean, even like the crowds out on the water, whatever, it's nice to see. It's nice to see other hunters, especially with our numbers going down in this state. It's always a good thing. And, a lot of people complain about that. But for me, you got to do better than the next guy. So there's if someone's beating you and your numbers aren't as good, I guess you want to say that year. I mean, you just got to put in more work and
Put in the time.
scout or whatever it may be. There's no room for complaining out there. There's especially the guys on the lake. The lake's so big. I don't know. I just fell in love with the waterfowl aspect, and I can't get enough. Like I said 3 times already.
Yeah. There's just something about the waterfall around here. It's just it's so enriched with history, like exactly where we're at right now, and it's kind of hard not to fall in love with it. Just the history part, and I think it's awesome. Like the layout boat was founded here, was created here, and whatnot. So you just can't beat that history.
And I think that's one thing that I really fell in love with it all too, is just the history behind it. We had a podcast ourselves the other day and talking to our guest, and he was talking about like the calls and the decoys and, just how they used to do it back in the day, and hearing the stories around here, like Chris said, with here being the first layout boat, and hearing those kind of stories and hearing all the dumb stuff people used to do back in the day. I really get a kick out of all of that stuff.
Can't beat it.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's a great attitude to have. I mean, like you said, there's a lot of people that complain about seeing too many guys and there being too much pressure, which at times I get where they're coming from. But
For sure.
No, that's a really good perspective to have. It's refreshing to hear somebody say that. And sometimes we all need to stop and give that a little more consideration that, hey, it's nice to see a few guys out here.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think another thing that really downplays the sport for waterfowl is social media. I mean, granted, social media is a really good thing and a bad thing at the same time. A lot of people want to just go out there for the piles or just there's not enough people that respect the sport and the game enough to where like a couple birds is a fun day out there for them. They want to have a whole pile, and like they're just so bloodthirsty. And I know there's levels to the whole hunting aspect of it all. It's like the learning stage, bloodthirsty, and then you just want to take people out. I think there's like the 5 stages or whatever I've heard before in the past. And people just get stuck in that social media and try to get that clout from everybody. And it's like, man, if you guys just realize how lucky you are to be able to do this every single day, or be out on the water, a Great Lake, or I don't know. It's special that people wish they could do it every single day.
Yeah, I think a lot of people take advantage of it.
Oh, for sure. And it's an unfortunate thing. And I guess that's what we try to preach as much as we can on our podcast. If we could reach that one person to get a little bit more of that mentality, that's all I really strive for.
Yeah.
Or we strive for.
Yeah, it's really cool. That's like I said, we could all benefit from having that kind of perspective for sure.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Bluebird Waterfowl, creator of the Animator. The Animator is revolutionizing the waterfowl community with the world's first spinning wing decoy conversion kit. Turn your existing spinner into a water motion decoy in seconds and learn how to finish more birds with the sound of water. Guaranteed to boost your hunt or your money back. Flaring birds with your spinner is a thing of the past. Try one risk-free at bluebirdwaterfowl.com or at your favorite local outdoor supplier. So I've got some limited hunting and fishing trips that I've made to Michigan. I fished years ago, and most recently I deer hunted up in the, I'm trying to look at the map here so I don't screw this up, Pigeon River.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if that's a state management.
I'm not sure if I know where that's at even. You've heard of that?
Yeah.
It's just west, or I'm sorry, it's just east, and I'm going to say this wrong. It's not, I'm trying to remember. They did tell me how to pronounce it when I was there. It's just east of...
we had some weird names over
here. Gaylord?
Gaylord. Yeah, Gaylord.
Yeah.
How do you pronounce it?
Gaylord.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I thought that was the wrong way to pronounce it.
No. So I think that's about what?
Maybe somebody was just messing with the Pennsylvania guy.
I think that's about 3 hours north of us, I believe it is.
Yeah, we just had a guy on the podcast from Gaylord area.
Yeah, not too far from up that way, actually. Okay. Beautiful up there, though, honestly. Yeah. It's really, really nice.
Yeah.
How do you do up there?
Yeah, I've got a good buddy that we got a couple of does.
Yeah.
We were me and my buddy who's originally from Grand Rapids. Mm-hmm. Me and him were the only two in camp out of like 20 people that shot does. So we were pretty excited to have them on the pole up there. We were partying pretty good.
Yeah.
That's so Trav isn't far from that Grand Rapids area. That's closer towards his way over there, which is only even that Grand Rapids from us is about 2 hours from where we're at right now.
Okay. Yeah, that's one thing about Michigan hunters that I noticed. First, you've got a lot of deep hunting history like we do in Pennsylvania here, especially for deer hunting. Mm-hmm. But you guys are it seems like all of you are very passionate about it. It's not, I haven't met too many Michigan hunters that are just kind of like, I go every once in a while.
I think there's a lot of people that understand how much work, or I guess the opportunities that there could be, like the big reward, I guess you want to say, the chance of a buck of a lifetime, or a great hunt out on the river, a great fishing trip out on the river or the lake. So I think once they when people, especially on the west side of the state, I'll say even more for deer hunting wise, when they know they got to put the food plots in or go earlier in the year and the pressure or the wind or whatever it may be. I mean, the west side of the state is unbelievable for the size of the deer out there. They're just huge over there for whatever reason.
You really reap the reward, and opportunities. You put the work in, you dang well, might receive that reward. So
yeah, I mean, just the opportunities are endless over here.
Yeah.
And I think once people understand that and get to that point of their hunting career, it just drives them that much more.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So what does a typical season look like for you? Are you guys covering quite a bit of area in Michigan to chase birds, or do you kind of stick to, close to home and places that aren't too far?
I guess I gotta let you talk about the water at least. And
Yeah.
I'll talk about the field aspect of it all.
I do a little bit more water hunting than Kyle does, but this year I went up to the northern opener up on St. Mary's River. I did pretty well up there, and then just worked my way down. I didn't do the middle opener, but worked my way down to down here and whatnot. But it's been really well on the water. Fields have been a lot better though than the water this year for me. Do some deer hunting. Didn't do as much deer hunting as I wanted to this year. I had some issues going on with that. But yeah, we did pretty well this year, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, for me, again, it kind of goes back to there's always going to be birds somewhere in some field. So I'll try to cover. I mean, I'm mainly field hunting, and unless there's some sheet water or something in the field. But wherever the birds are, I'm going. I don't care if it's an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it may be. I'm from probably middle of August, I'd say. I'm on the road probably at least 4 hours of the day. As soon as I get home, I'm changing and hitting the road until dark and trying to do whatever else afterwards. And I think that's honestly one of my favorite things to do is just the scout itself. And I think more people need to look at that and look at the opportunities that even scouting will give them. Like why the birds are over there in that part of the field, or what they're doing flying in, or where they're flying from, or where they're loafing at, or whatever it may be. There's so many different things that people overlook in the scout itself. They'll just drive by a field and, we're hunting over here today, instead of, okay, everybody could park here. We're going to be able to hide over here, instead of getting there in the morning and not knowing a thing that's going on. But yeah, I mean, I'm all over the place. I deer hunt the same spot where I really bird hunt at. And same with turkeys. I'm in the same general vicinity, closer towards the middle of the state, I guess I'd say. Not as far to the middle of the state, but a little west from us right now.
Okay. So, Chris, you mentioned you're more of a water hunter. Are you hunting marshes or rivers or big water?
Yeah, I'll do some marsh hunting. We real close to us is Point Malay Waterfowl, the big marsh up here, pretty much in our backyard. So I'll do a lot of marsh hunting out there. We did some marsh hunting up north, but I've done some layout hunting this year as well. The big water on Erie and up in Saginaw Bay. So I like to be pretty diverse, but I love divers. So if any chance I can get in a layout boat, I'm in it.
Yeah, I've started to do a little more of that myself. Got a couple of hunts in the layout boats this year, and
was it your first year doing it?
Yeah, yep.
No, I've never done it before. So what was your kind of take on it all? Because I'm kind of skeptical. I want to do it, but I'm a little nervous that you're sitting.
We've been trying to get Kyle out, but he won't do it.
You're sitting in that little dinghy where water's splashing you all over the place. I feel like that's how it is anyway.
Yeah, I mean, we were hunting in a bay, which wasn't too rough, but it was kind of still a little bit choppy. But those layout boats are so sturdy. My biggest issue was sitting up and shooting.
Yeah,
it was kind of a strange position. Even like using a layout blind in a field or something, it was just there's something different about it, because at least in a layout blind in the field, the blind and the ground aren't moving.
Right.
Yeah. So when you sit up and draw that bead on a bird, that thing's still kind of moving in the chop, and your barrel's kind of going in circles, and so that was the toughest part for me. But as far as safety and feeling comfortable, no, it was a pretty cool experience.
Yeah, definitely.
I say every single year I'm going to try it, but I can't get myself out of those dang fields sometimes. I mean, when it gets good out in the river, or out in the lake, it gets good out in the fields as well. I mean, once those birds get so condensed, I don't know. I mean, you go anywhere, you're going to be doing pretty good out there.
Yeah, so are you seeing as many ducks in the field, or are you concentrating on geese mostly?
This year was actually probably our slowest year for ducks. We had one good push the last weekend of season, where usually, I mean, we're weekend warriors. I mean, we're only going out there 2 days a week. We're probably right around the 200 mark for ducks, mallards. This year, I think we were pretty low on that, and I think some of that has to do with the weather. We didn't really freeze up until late season here.
It was real late this year.
After the new year, I believe it was. Yeah. So, those birds up north don't have any reason to push down.
Sure.
But I mean, it wasn't a bad year. I mean, it's mostly geese. But I'm never going to turn down a field mallard hunt either.
No.
This episode is also brought to you by the Duck Hole & Company, attracting feathers together. They are a full-service habitat company located in North Carolina. If you have questions about waterfowl habitat or need some work done on your property, contact them through any of their social media platforms at the Duck Hole & Company. They can also fix you up with golden millet, also known as the duck buffet, and the best bang for your duck. So you said 200 mallards. Is that kind of like an average season for your group, or?
Yeah, I mean, right around that mark. Yeah. For the last couple of years, it seems like, it is a good point too. It's our group, not just me individually. This past season, it was tough. The previous year, we actually had some flooded corn, some private flooded corn that the birds just stayed consistently hitting because we had a wet fall, and it just varies every single year. It depends on how the fall is, how wet the fall is, and obviously how cold it gets, and I don't know. It depends, but right around that 200 mark though.
Okay. Mostly Canada's you're seeing coming through there?
Yeah. We had a couple specs roll through this year that we weren't able to get on, and some snows. Usually, I think the last 2 years actually are the first 2 years, and probably 5 or 6 years we weren't able to shoot a snow, which to some it might seem like it's just a snow. What's the big deal about it? But for Michigan, it's kind of
we don't get many.
Yeah, it's a big deal to even just see them. I think when the specs rolled through, I think there was probably 20, 30 people just at the pier that are taking pictures of them. And so, I mean, they're the oddballs for sure. But, yeah, mainly just Canada geese and mallards, really, on the field-wise.
Okay. You get to see many wood ducks or any teal early on or anything like that?
On the water, for sure.
On the water, yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
That is one thing too, and I forget who I was talking to the other day. Up north, all my buddies that hunt the fields, they just they get swarmed in every morning hunt with wood ducks just diving to their mojo or whatever it may be. And I don't think I've ever seen a wood duck in a field down this way. Not saying
I don't think I have. Yeah.
Not saying it doesn't happen, but I've never seen it for whatever reason. It's the weirdest thing. Even like I said, the flooded corn last year, I didn't even see one wood duck in that, which is just bizarre to me.
Yeah. I mean, they definitely have the opportunity to be in there, but we don't see them.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. Just strange that things that I think of like that throughout the season. And
I think we have so much water around where we're at. They'd rather be on the water. There's no need to be out in that field. There's so much food, especially out here at Point Malay. It's managed units. There's flooded corn and stuff like that. They want to be in that.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure.
Do you guys have like?
what are?
Go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Do you guys
No, you
have
can
like
finish your thought?
managed units over by where you're at?
We do. Yeah, we have some.
Now, do you hunt that often or no?
No, I'm pretty fortunate. I've got a lot of public spots that are just open to whoever wants to come and hunt them whenever.
I got you.
It seems like the harder you work, the further you get away, the better hunt you have. Some of these places, most guys will. It's kind of like deer hunting too. Most guys will pull up and whatever the easy spots are, they'll get in there, and if you put in a little more effort, you can get away from them. But
I mean, that's even our managed unit
we have
over there. It's like if you go all the way back to Point Malay, it's better because a lot of these guys just want to get out of the truck and jump in their stand. That's the tree stand that's 20 yards off the road and hope for the best when they're pushing all those deer back to the guys in the very back there.
Yeah. So what do your field setups typically look like?
It depends. We have a few permanent blinds out there. We usually run all A-frames, and then the decoy spreads kind of typically depend on the time of year or how many birds we have around. We usually use all full bodies. We're fortunate enough to be able to either drive a four-wheeler in or the truck if the ground's hard enough. Which, I mean, I don't like silhouettes, and I'll come right out and say that because a lot of people will make fun of me for not liking silhouettes. I think they're good fillers, and they got a rhyme and a reason for them, if you can't drive out there. And I just think everybody from the very northern part of Michigan all the way down has at least 5 to 10 dozen silhouettes that they could tuck away easily so they could hunt their 1 to 2 fields or whatever they may have, and those birds are almost so used to seeing those silhouettes, it gets difficult hunting over them. They're seeing, like I said, they're seeing them all the way down. So, even late season, I'll throw maybe just 2 dozen decoys out there. Everybody kind of says build it up as you go throughout the season. I want to be different than everybody else. I don't want to have a normal J hook or whatever it may be. I want a natural looking spread where, it sets me apart from everybody else that's hunting around us.
Kyle's a decoy nut. He'll be out there changing the decoy every 5 minutes.
If one's looking at me weird, I'm moving it and making it look away from me. That's for sure. I get. It kind of goes back to the whole scouting aspect of it all, though.
Yeah.
I see them out there. I kind of see how they're set up. If they're feeding heavy in one area, I want to make it kind of look the same for the morning. I want to be able to give everybody that we take out the best opportunity we could possibly give them. So it's just, I don't know. I'm fascinated about that and how one decoy and a goose spread can make those birds do something way different. You can move that decoy 10 yards in and they land right in your hole, or you could have it out 10 yards and they land 40 yards away from you. It's just something that makes me go crazy at night. That's for sure.
Yeah. You get some pretty big groups together?
As in like flocks coming in or like hunters wise?
Hunter wise, how many guys are you usually hunting?
I think our biggest one this past year was, I think when
14 or 15.
When Miger came in, we had 14 or 15 guys out there. And that was the most. Usually we're probably right around 7 to 10, I'd say. Okay. And it might seem like a lot to a lot of people, but when we're hunting with the same guys over and over again, everybody kind of knows their own roles in the morning. And, it's not like people are standing around. These 3 or 4 guys know they got to go set up the blinds or grab brush or set up decoy. Those 2 guys over there are setting up the decoys or, what I mean? It's just, it kind of just all falls together.
Yeah, our operation is very... it's almost like a military operation. Everyone knows their place. Everyone knows, what needs to be done. And really there's no talking, it's just everyone gets their job done and, that's it.
Unless we're singing along with the turtle box out there. That's about it. But nobody wants to hear that turtle box and me singing. I'll tell you that much right now.
Yeah. I mean, as long as you can get that many people hidden, that's the important thing. And it sounds like you don't have any trouble doing that. So,
I mean,
the more hands, the better.
Yeah, and then with the A-frames, especially, we have, I think, 3 or 4 in the trailer at all times. And for me, if you have one A-frame out in the middle of the field or on a field edge, or, the hide's not great on it, you got that box look to it still. If we say we have 8 guys, which we could fit easily in 2 A-frames, I'll still run the 3 to spread it out as far as I can to make it look more of like a ditch hide or a ditch line out in the field, and not as boxy as just one A-frame out there or 2 A-frames out there. I just want to make it look as realistic as possible, and it seems to work really well.
It does, yeah.
And even this year we had Sean Stahl come in, and he had cattle fencing he would put right out in front of the panel blinds that he was using. He would zip tie brush to it just to break up the blind out in the middle. And I never even thought of that before, and I thought it was a great idea, just to break us up and not make us look as boxy out there.
Sure. Yeah, that's a good tip.
It's there's always that one small tip that you can learn, especially off a guy like him. I mean, whether it's the sun at your back or side shooting, and I don't know. I haven't met one person yet that knows everything about this game. If someone says they do, they're sadly mistaken. I'll tell you that.
We learn probably everything. A new thing every hunt, pretty much.
Sure,
yeah,
for sure.
This episode is also brought to you by Rig'em Right Waterfowl, producers of the most well-designed and well-built products, tried and tested by the most heavily seasoned hunters on the planet. Their mission has always been and will always be to design, build, and supply the most innovative and high-performance hunting products available at a reasonable price. They will not succumb to outside pressure to cheapen their products, and will continue to take bold steps and huge risks to separate themselves from their competition. They dominate in customer service, knowing that their end-use customers are the very backbone of their existence. Above all else, they operate with honesty and integrity and treat people fairly, never compromising these principles in pursuit of profit. Check them out at rig'emright.com or your favorite local outdoor retailer. So Chris, how are you getting into your water spots? Are you doing any kayaking, boating?
I do most of my marsh spots walking in.
Okay.
Where our marsh is, it's a lot of people have boats, but a lot of people can't get into where you can walk into if you have a boat, So it's like I'd rather walk in. And, I'm separated from all the people with boats and whatnot. So that's primarily what I'm doing. If not, I'll take a kayak or a boat. But most of the time I'm walking to that spot. Yeah, I have to get up a little bit earlier, but it's well worth it.
Yeah. So I'm assuming you're running pretty light if you're doing that.
Yeah. This year I just picked up some heyday decoys, and it changed the game for me. They're just so light and whatnot. So
okay.
Those heyday decoys, I'm surprised
What's
more
your
people...
typical setups look like?
In the marsh? In the marsh, I'm going, I'm not going super heavy, and less than 12 decoys. Less than 12 decoys. I'm at least putting 3 coots in that decoy bag too. So, looking at, pretty much all mallards, really. All mallards and 3 coots. So 9 mallards, 3 coots. Not a whole lot of hens. Mostly just drakes.
Now, as far as species of ducks, are you mostly seeing mallards in that area, or are you getting a little bit of a mixed bag?
We're seeing a little bit of everything. This year we saw quite a few black ducks on the river. I hunted out on the river a couple times. Saw a couple black ducks. We actually shot a real nice stud this year. But it just depends on the year. Early on, you're going to see a lot of teal wood ducks. We have a lot of wood ducks up in here. Teal wood ducks early on, and then it starts moving towards colder weather and whatnot. You're getting more mallards, pintails. We've had some really nice pintails up here. I think a lot of people don't think there's a lot of nice birds northern or in Michigan or whatever.
Variety of birds.
The variety of birds. But you can kill some nice birds up here. I think that's really overlooked and whatnot.
Yeah. So what did you think about the migration this year from kind of what you've seen in years past? Was it kind of average, a little bit better, a little worse?
On the water? It's been I would say it's average. I would say, like middle of the season, there's nothing. Nothing's flying. Early on, you got your teal flying and wood ducks. And early season, that's pretty decent. But once you get towards that middle of the season, it's a lull. And that's when, I'll go out with Kyle and we'll hunt the fields and whatnot. But towards late season, you're getting a lot more birds. And it's almost like that season cuts off right when the birds are moving really good,
It seems like
what's
always the case.
Yeah.
They pop up when we're not able to get out there anymore.
How do they have your season broke up there?
Our early goose starts September 1st. It goes all the way through September. Our UP season starts the last weekend of September as well. And then the first week of October, I'm sorry, is the middle zone, which is the shotgun line or like the Zwaukey Bridge. So I want to say Saginaw Bay is the middle zone. They just switched it. I can't remember.
It's right on the border right there, yeah.
So anything from the Saginaw Bay and up is our middle zone, and then obviously the south end is the bottom part of the state, which is the third weekend of October.
And that goes to December, 12th or 14th?
Our season, I think, went to the 4th this year, I think.
4th, yeah, that's what it was.
And then we have our split usually, which is usually it's the 30th and 31st or the 31st and the 1st of the year. I can't remember what it was this year. I want to say it was 2 days before New Year's. I think it was.
It was like the 30th and 31st.
So something along those lines. And then we go another week for goose hunting. We shut down for 3 more weeks. And then we pick up our late goose season for, I think, 2 weekends, I believe it is.
Yeah, and then we got teal season September 1st through the 16th.
Yeah.
Okay. So no duck hunting in January.
No, I wish there was. And it's tough to say that too.
Yeah.
Like I wish there was, but at the same time,
sure.
The breeding season, the birds start pair up and I don't think enough people really recognize that or realize that, what that could possibly do with the population for the future if we go out there that late in the season and start. I shouldn't say late in the season because January is not that far, but people want to push it even further back than that. And I don't know. I'm skeptical about it all. That's just my opinion on it.
Yeah, it's definitely something to think about. I know some guys in PA were getting upset that the biologist is going to stick with the framework that we had last year. And we go pretty late. I think we went to January 18th.
Really?
Oh, wow.
And they were pretty upset that she wasn't going to change it to even further to the end of the year. But wow. I'm with you. It's something to think about. And on the flip side of it, there's years, and it's probably been a while, but there's years where everything can freeze up, and then you're kind of don't have any hunting to do anywhere because all the birds are gone.
I think, especially the winters. I remember when I was growing up, we were getting feet of snow all winter, and it was cold, and now it's
little spurts, but that's about it. It's not a whole lot of snow.
No, this was our first year in 3 years, I think it's been, since we even had ice around our place to even ice fish on. So it's been a lot different than, back 15, 20 years, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, you wonder if that's going to, the pendulum's going to switch at some point.
Seems like everything kind of goes in a full circle.
Trend, but who knows?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I always like to ask, what's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you while waterfowl hunting, or if you just have a favorite story that would be interesting?
You got one on your mind?
Yeah. My favorite story is my birthday hunt, Thanksgiving weekend. It was we were driving out there, and it wasn't snowing until like we were 15 minutes away from the field, and it started snowing. It started coming down. Farmer was in the field, and he said he was going to till up the field, and so we were hunting while he was tilling up the field, and we kept on getting flock after flock after flock coming in. We didn't. What would you say? No more than like 12 birds per flock.
Yeah, I mean, they were rolling out of there pretty steadily. I went through, I think it was Thanksgiving night-ish. I went out and scouted and seen the tractor out there, and thank God I did, because that weekend or the next day, I texted him. And he's like, "Oh yeah, tomorrow or this weekend or whatever it was, I'm going to go out there and till it." And that's the day we went out there. But yeah, it was perfect how they were flying out, but obviously the tractor tilling out in the middle of the field or disking out in the middle of the field.
Tractor was like stopping when the birds were coming in. He was filming for us and whatnot. It was sweet. We killed, how many did we kill? We killed 38.
I think it was close to 30. I think. I don't know.
I think it was over 30.
Okay,
but
right around there.
Killed a really old band that day. It was just an awesome hunt, and no one knew it was my birthday until like later on. It was just an awesome hunt though. That's one hunt I'll remember for the rest of my life.
And I think that band was 14 years old, if I'm not mistaken. So I mean, that was a pretty cool bird to kind of. And that's the thing, like we talk about the decoy history, the call history, even the band history. Just like to think about how many decoy spreads those birds have gone over and how many times they've been shot at is just, I don't know, crazy to me.
Yeah, it was wild. It was an awesome hunt.
For me, man, that'd be tough. Every time I go out, there's always something that I like to see or something that happens that I'm always going to remember. I think, honestly, it probably go back to the first, like, big mallard shoot or the first time we shot a snow around here. And just sometimes I'm in, like, awe. Just I don't even pull my gun up, or half time I won't load my gun until the third flock of the morning, just because I'm just so caught up in the whole locked up and decoying right in for us. I get a kick out of that and seeing everybody else smile and have a good time instead of me pulling the trigger. Yeah. But I'll even go back to like my first dog's first retrieve. I'll say that hunt would probably be one of the most memorable hunts. Nothing crazy about it, but just seeing the work that I put in and her finally clicking and understanding it more. That's one of the hunts that I'll never forget.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. That's for sure.
No, I mean the dogs. I mean, they make up half of the hunt in themselves.
This episode is also brought to you by CK Custom Calls. Custom built in the USA from the great state of Texas. Handmade in a world of mass produced. Check out their calls on their Instagram and Facebook pages at CK Custom Calls. They showcase calls for sale there, and you can also contact them for a custom order. So what's next for you, Kyle? You have any big plans for this year? Any hunts planned?
I've been shed hunting a lot lately. I found a couple of those so far. And really just prepping for turkey season. This year, so last year we became, I guess, ambassadors or we've been teaming up with Migra a lot for their shells. They just came out with some new turkey load last year. So this year we're actually going to have Brian come up and film for us a few times and hopefully get him on his first turkey. But I mean, just kind of prepping up for turkey season and walleye season, really. I mean, I don't have as many plans as Chris has in the springtime.
No, I don't have a whole lot.
I thought you were going out of state.
Oh, yeah.
So he's got more plans than me, right, with that. But yeah, that's about it for me. Walleye fishing and turkey season, and in the meantime, shed hunting.
Oh yeah, for me,
Brian's really. I was just going to say Brian's really talented. that's great that you're having him up. I saw some of the new equipment he got for this year too. That new lens he's got. He's been
it's
having
insane.
a good time with.
Brian's been unbelievable for us, and not to cut Chris off about the year. With getting to know him throughout the year and bringing him up for a few waterfowl hunts and the pictures and the videos that he's been able to take and getting to know him more and his family more, it's super fortunate of it. And I mean, it's just been awesome.
Yeah, he's been a big part of our group.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just to have him up with his dog for the first time out in the field, it's to see him, like the smile on his face that his dog was retrieving a goose in the field for the first time was just, I don't know, it was on that.
Yeah, hunt. that was part of my favorite hunt. Brian brought his dog. It was his first field hunt. Yeah, and it was just awesome, and just the smile and joy that Brian had. You can't make that up. It was awesome.
So just don't tell him I was talking good about him. No, I don't want him getting a big head on him or getting a big ego with him. Yeah. So just don't tell him that I said anything about him. But what do you have planned, Chris?
Yeah.
Looking to go to Alabama this year for turkey season. My sister's fiance lives down there, and he's a guide, and so we're gonna go down there and get my first southern bird, and then try to go down to Oklahoma and get a bird as well. So. And then obviously get a bird up here. So,
do you have any plans? Do you turkey hunt at all? I'm assuming so.
Yeah, I don't hate turkey hunting.
Don't go there with me.
Oh
man,
it's when I'm doing it, I love it. When I'm out there doing it, I love it. But it's one of those things that I don't think about a lot, and I don't want to say the birds around me. I'm kind of It was a lot more rural when I moved here 25 years ago, but it's starting to turn into the suburbs. A lot of the farms have gotten sold and
that's tough.
Turned into housing plans. But the turkeys around here were never the smartest turkeys, and a lot of times I'd be done the first morning, and it was like, okay. I mean, like I said, I love it when I'm doing it. It's awesome having that interaction, talking back and forth with those birds. But yeah, so I'll definitely be doing it in Pennsylvania. I'll be getting out for sure. Most of my plans are kind of on hold, like I mentioned earlier about Iowa. I have to wait to see what I draw for that. But I'm definitely going to be going out of town. I went to Kansas and Nebraska, both for early teal, and then I went back in November and hunted both states for waterfowl. So
that's pretty cool.
Probably going to do early teal again. That was a blast out there. I might get up to Canada this year. And
that'd be a lifetime. I feel like go up there and experience all that. And
I got some other wish list things that I want to do, but we'll see how it shakes out.
Well, if you ever get a frog in your boot, come over here and try to shoot some birds in next fall, or just even we got the festival and stuff in September. We do our podcast there and sell some merchandise and stuff. If you're interested, we can get you some more information on that even.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, for sure. I've been bugging Brian all season, but he's big time and too busy for everybody. So
it's hard to get out, especially with the secretary that he's got. You got to get through her, and then you got to get through Wes, his son, and he's a hard man to get a hold of. Man, he's tough to get a hold of.
Yep. He's a great guy.
We were sitting there on the phone the other day. Were you in the truck?
Yeah.
So he was sitting there talking to me the other day and talking about teeing off, getting in like fights, but way back in the day. But instead of using the word fight, he would say just teeing off. Well, Wes caught up or picked up on that real quick. So Wes just starts teeing off on everybody in the room, and Brian's yelling at him, and he's got his hands full, man. And like I said, I'm super fortunate to get to know him over the past year.
Yeah, I remember those days. I've got 2 daughters, but they're both in college now, and one's in med school.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I've got a little more free time than he does. He's still chasing little ones.
Yeah, He's got another one on the way.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he's definitely gonna have his hands
really full.
Yeah, for sure.
No question. Well, what's next for Great Lakes Outdoors? Are you guys planning on expanding into anything, or kind of just building on what you got going on?
So when me and Trav started this whole thing, like I said, it was just kind of the spot where to post our hunting stuff at, and just get to meet people, I guess, and this whole podcast for us, like our podcast kind of fell in our lap, and we weren't even really thinking about doing that. Like we weren't expecting or had a goal to do a podcast by any means. Kind of found an opportunity and ran with it, and started doing the shirts, and there's not really been a goal or a plan with any of it. I think a lot of it is just getting to know people and growing ourselves as hunters, getting to know people like yourself and just people all over the country. I'd like to do more shows, travel a little bit. I mean, it kind of goes, I don't know. I'm kind of tongue twisted right now because I just go with the flow kind of most of the time and see what happens. I don't want to.
Well, we got quite a bit of things in the works now. Upgrading the podcast, where our podcast is going to be pretty much up on every platform. Really, we're doing all that. More video stuff. We're growing. And
I would say I'm stupid if I didn't say I wanted to make money doing this, because obviously that would be nice, but it's not the reason why I'm doing it. So
right.
It's hard to explain what's next when you're learning yourself as you go.
Yeah. So how many episodes are you guys in now? You've got a couple years in now, right?
I think we're only in a little over a year. We try to do one once a week, and obviously some life happens, obviously, and it's very difficult with all the time, and thankfully, like, Chris is able to edit for us and lining up guests. But I think it's just a little over a year, I believe it is. So it's not been that long. Like I said, just learning as we go and keep building this thing around here.
We're close to 100 now.
Are we? I thought we were only at like 50 something or 60.
I know we broke 50 for sure. We're in that 100, or we're in that 50 to 100 range. I'll have to double check everything.
Okay.
Well, I'll say that's a big margin.
Yeah.
50 to 100. So
we're getting there.
Let's just say around
either
75.
way,
75,
that's a commitment to do.
What was that?
Yeah, that's a commitment, though. Just to even get to 50, that's a commitment. I mean, people have no idea what it takes to put a weekly show out.
Yeah, definitely.
No, I mean,
so kudos to you guys for surviving that long.
It's another job. It really is. It's. I think, like, I was listening to one of your podcasts today, and you guys were talking about how people just think that they're going to get rich and famous off of doing a podcast or adding a group, because you start seeing these little outdoor groups pop up all over social media, and good for them for getting into it and being more involved with it all. But I don't think a lot of people understand how much work and time goes into all of this stuff. I mean, time away from your family and friends, and like I said, it's a second job. It gets tough, it gets stressful, and there's some days where you kind of just got to sit back and think of why you're doing it and all the good that's could possibly come out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned it before, just the people,
right,
and the relationships that you build, and people that you meet. It's that's what does it for me, and it sounds like you guys are on the same track, and appreciate you taking the time today. I've been following you for a while, and nice to finally catch up.
Yeah, thank you for inviting us, and I mean, I would love to have you on ours one of these days. Thanks for reaching out and getting us on yours for sure. I really appreciate it.
I definitely have to come up here. We can go fishing and turkey hunt, whatever.
We'll come up to the festival next year, and it's during our early goose season, so we'll get you on an early goose hunt and be at Point Mullay Waterfowl Festival.
That sounds great. Well, I appreciate it, guys. Take a minute and let everybody know where they can find you.
So really just the Great Lakes Outdoors. on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And then on Spotify, it's the Great Lakes Outdoors podcast, which right now we're only on Spotify. We're going to be branching out to all platforms very soon. I think that's about it, right?
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
So, yeah, right there. Message us if you guys have any questions or merchandise, or I'll be the one that usually answers all of the stuff on there. So don't be afraid. I don't bite. I promise. Chris does a little bit. That's why he doesn't have the password to the Instagram.
All right, gentlemen. Kyle, Chris, appreciate your time.
I appreciate you.
Catch up soon.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
For sure. Have a good one.
Big thanks again to Kyle and Chris for taking time out of their day to join me on the show. And thank you all for tuning into this episode. I really appreciate it. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Migration Waterfowl. We also have a Facebook group for the podcast. Please join us there as well. And if you could, please check out our YouTube channel and subscribe while you are there. Lots of great content coming that way throughout the rest of the year. And don't forget about our New Year's giveaway. If you find our New Year's giveaway video on our YouTube channel, like that video, comment done, and subscribe to the channel, and you'll be entered to win a case of heavy shot ammo, a Bluebird waterfowl animator. We also got some hats and got some other prizes in the works for that. So as soon as we hit 1,000 subscribers, we're going to randomly draw a winner for those. So be sure to do all three of those things to get entered. You can find links to our merchandise store on our Facebook and Instagram pages. Check out our shirts, hoodies, thermoses, coffee, and more over there. And now through the end of March, 10% of everything we sell will go to Ducks Unlimited. We got a brand new design over there. Check out our Duck Stamp t-shirt and hoodie. I think you'll enjoy that one. We've been selling quite a bit of those, and I appreciate everyone who's been buying merchandise. If you like what you've heard here, please take a moment and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Send me a message or email after you leave the review, and I will mail you a podcast decal. And get out there and enjoy the outdoors, but make sure you seek out a relationship with the one who created everything. Psalm chapter 37, verses 3 through 6 says, "Trust in the Lord and do good. Dwell in the land and enjoy safe pasture. Take delight in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. Commit your way to the Lord. Trust in him, and he will do this. He will make your righteous reward shine like the dawn, your vindication like the noonday sun." And remember, the migration is coming. Be ready when it arrives. Tune in next week to hear another great guest on the Migration Waterfowl podcast.